Hello, hello, good morning. Running a few minutes behind the schedule, but I know you guys are still getting ready to come in and join me live today. So I'm gonna give you a few more minutes while I get my notes together so we can discuss today's very interesting topic: who can file a green card petition for me? That's our topic for today. Who can file a green card petition for me? So I'll give you guys a few minutes to jump in on this live. And if you have any questions while I'm talking, feel free to leave it in the chat. Okay. Let me see this. One sec. Hey guys on TikTok. I'm live on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're watching me from. My name is Ify, the marriage green card lawyer, and I help clients file permanent residency green card through marriage and help clients find their freedom, find their purpose, and generally enjoy their lives while living in the USA. So if you're just joining me right now, let me know where you're watching me from. I'm in North Carolina, and I serve clients nationwide. And I would be very happy to help you with your green card case. So click the links. If you're watching live right now, there should be a QR code somewhere, but if there's not, you can always reach out by phone call. My number is on the screen as well for free consultations. So inquiries about how you can start your green card application. Okay. So I have a bunch of people joining in now on TikTok. So I'm going to start talking about today's topic, and I'll be looking out for your questions. If you want to speak to somebody directly, you can just give us a call right away. Someone will be there to answer your questions. All right. Otherwise, just leave it in the comments, and I'll get to it towards the end of the live or in the middle at some point. Okay. All right. Why is having a green card important? Why do we need to know about who can file a green card for you? Like, why do we care, right? Well, I'll tell you why a green card is important. If you're currently living in the USA right now, I'm sure you have realized by now the importance of a green card, because without a green card, if you're in the USA, you're not going to be able to work or travel to the USA without deportation or not being able to come back. You're not going to be able to feel free to kind of open a business or start doing things that benefit your life with your family, or make plans with your family, or build a family, like to have a kid or something, because you need work for that. So not having a green card when you live in the USA can really stunt your overall growth. Okay, so having a green card is important if you want to be able to earn money for your family, if you want to be able to build a life with your family, because earning money is directly related to being able to build a life with your family. Because like I said, having a child, children are expensive these days. You'll be limited on being able to do those things. And then being able to travel as well outside the USA, wherever you want, having just access to the world. Those are the things that you get by having a green card. So having a green card is very important. But now the question is, how do I get this green card? Who can file a petition for this green card? Like, do I just apply for a green card? Like, what's the deal? How do I get it? Okay. If you're outside the USA watching this, You could also be potentially eligible for a green card, and discuss those, how you could get a green card, who could file a petition for you, and possibly come into the USA and start doing these things. Like I said, being able to live and work and take care of your family and all that stuff. Yeah. I think I just saw some comments coming in from Facebook. I will get to those in a little, and then I'll put it up on the screen, and we'll all get a benefit from that answer. Okay. All right. So if you need green card help, or you are currently, looking for a way to start working, get your work authorization and all that stuff while in the USA, the first thing you want to think about on how to get this green card is if you have any relatives who qualify to file your green card petition. So the first person, or the first set of people, the first group of people that could potentially file a green card petition for you will be your family members. Okay. And if you're watching this live, you can see on the screen the types of family members that can actually help you file your green card petition. Those family members will be your spouse, your child, not just any child that's at least 21 and older, because if you have a 6-month-old or even a 12-year-old USA citizen child, that child won't be able to file for you just yet until the child is 21. So children can definitely petition for your green card. Another type of family member that can help will be your US citizen brother or sister. Your US citizen brother or sister, well, if your brother or sister is just a permanent resident, they actually can't file. They have to be US citizens to be able to file that green card petition for you. Those relatives, if you're in the middle of thinking, how do I get a green card? Like, what do I need to do? I want to move to the USA, or I'm currently in the USA, I'm out of status, I can't work, I haven't seen my family for years. I just spoke to a client the other day who hasn't seen her family for 14 years, okay? I was like, wow, how have you been coping? She's like, I haven't, it's been hard, but I'm just scared that if I travel, if I leave, I'll be able to come back. And she has 3 US citizen children, and if she can't come back, her children will be stranded. So she's like, how do I can definitely file a green card petition for you, your wife or your husband, your child, your brother or sister, even your parents, actually. So it's not on the screen right now, but your parents can file a petition for you, your US citizen parent or your permanent resident parent, depending on your age. So if you're an adult person over 21 watching this, your permanent resident parent may be able to file for you, but there's some nuances that you have to take note of. So let me know in the comments if you have any of these relatives I was talking about, if you have a US citizen brother or sister, if they already filed for you, like what's going on. Because some of the questions I get, and I'll try to answer some of them as we're going on, is, well, how long is it going to take? Because for US citizen brother or sister, everyone knows that takes quite a while. We'll get into some of the timeline questions as we go along, okay? So let me look in the comments and see what's going on with some of you, and if you have any family members I just mentioned that could file this green card petition for you. PJ, thank you for your comments. PJ says, I need help filing for a green card. Okay, PJ, thank you for joining this live. Like I said in the beginning of the live, I'm Ify, the marriage green card lawyer, and I help clients file their permanent residency and green card petitions. So I can definitely help you with that filing, but first we need to determine if you have any of the I just spoke about. We're still going to talk about more people that can file for you, but I just spoke about some family members who could potentially help you with that petition, because to get a green card, right, there are 2 steps. You have to have a petition and then the green card application. So that's the process. So today's live, we're focused on who can give me that first step, who can file that petition for me to then go ahead and get my green card, right? Some people come in on a B1, B2 visa and they're like, well, can I change from my B1, B2 to a green card? I get that question a lot too. And typically the answer is no, unless you have someone who could file a petition for you, like a family member. Okay, some people come into the USA, they meet somebody, they end up getting engaged, getting married. That's your family member now. So now you all of a sudden you have a spouse, or maybe you had a child who was on student visa in the USA and your child got married and all of that, child files for you. So there's always got to be a connection. Okay, I remember during the Trump presidency, they used to talk about something like chain immigration, like family chain immigration. I believe he was trying to change the policies at the time because they realized that if you have just one family member who is a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, that family member can file a green card for the other family members, you know, and that technical difficulty. Okay, well, it's back. Okay. Any questions about what I've been saying? Someone on TikTok said, I want to apply for my permanent green card next month. I need help with it. Joshua, we can definitely help you with that. What category would you be filing with? Do you have a petitioner? I'm going to go through the other 2 categories of people that could file your petition for you. So if you don't have a family member, keep watching. You might fit into one of the other categories and you still be able to get your green card to live permanently in the USA. If you're already in the USA and you're out of, you know, there's some nuance that even if you have a family member, there are certain restrictions, I would say, if you came in on a tourist visa and you now suddenly have a family member. So make sure you're aware of that. Make sure that if you're coming in on a tourist visa, you're not coming in with the intention to get a family member and you know, start your green card. So there are nuances to that type of stuff. You need to be able to prove a real marriage, a bona fide marriage, not just for the green card, because you want to build a life with that person. You already had a courtship, you've been dating for quite some time and all that stuff. Yeah, those are things they'll look into. So many people are like, I want to come in on a B1, B2 visa, and they're already dating someone and they want to get their green card that way. And I'm always like, no, because if you are engaged, you need to go through the K1 visa route, and then the person becomes your spouse, and then you fall into this first category, your family members filing for you. So there's a different route for that if you're not already married. If you are already married, then you just go ahead and start step 1, the petition, step 2, the application, and go from there. If you're in the USA, you can potentially do step 1 and 2 together. So that saves time, saves you some money, and you get your green card all at once. Yeah? So any questions about that? Okay. A question from Facebook group. If my sponsor is getting state help, let me put that up here. Will I still be eligible to get a green card? So that's a great question. This person is clearly getting a green card through this family category that we're talking about. And so we want to know if getting government benefits like stamps and stuff like that affect eligibility. So that's a great question, and I'll answer it in just 1 second. I know why people still ask this question, because a couple of years ago, during the Trump presidency as well, there was this form called what was it called again? I-944. Yes, a new form that just came up that said immigrants, anybody receiving public benefits would be disqualified for a green card and so on and so forth, and I cared about that. But the thing is now, for one, that rule no longer exists. Once Trump presidency ended, that rule ended with it. And then the second thing is the benefits that you should be getting from the government should be for the immigrant, the beneficiary, not the U.S. citizen. So if you're a U.S. citizen, sponsor, spouse, is getting state help, getting Medicaid, getting Medicare, other types of government benefits, you will still be able to get your green card through that spouse. It's not going to affect your eligibility or anything like that. The most important thing for your eligibility is whether your marriage is bona fide, whether your marriage is real. That's the most important. Second thing is if your spouse is earning enough income. So if your spouse is getting state help and possibly not earning enough income, the issue there will then be that you may need a joint sponsor. Okay, it's not going to affect your eligibility. It's just going to mean that you need a joint sponsor. Okay, to make sure you talk to a lawyer before you start that process, since you already have that little concern, to make sure that your spouse is earning enough and that you have enough proof of your bona fide marriage. Okay, the two most important things in every family-based immigration, actually. If it's your child, they still need to file the affidavit of support. They still need to earn the. On a different day, we'll talk about how to calculate that you need for your green card petition. But for now, just know that these family members could potentially file a green card petition for you. And for those of you just joining, I talked about the importance of having a green card. If you are in the USA, like Joshua says he's in the USA, you know that you need a green card to be able to work, travel, make plans with your family, and just feel free within yourself. Okay, because if you don't have a green card and you're in the USA and you're out of status, every other day, every other time, anything you do, you're always, wondering if am I going to get deported, or what's if you end up with someone unauthorized, you're not going to get paid fully. So you're never going to be able to earn enough income that you deserve if you don't have a green card, because you're always going to be hiding. You don't want to complain so that they don't report you for not having a green card, So it doesn't allow you to be free. And my goal for immigrants is to help immigrants find their purpose and really follow their dreams. Because I'm an immigrant myself. I'm from Nigeria. And I know how difficult it was for my family until we end up getting our green card. Okay. We had an employment-based visa, which only allowed one person, which is the main applicant, to work, and the rest of the family, needed a green card. So if you find yourself in any situation where you need to work, you need to travel, you just need to have your freedom, your solution is most likely to file a permanent residency green card through one of these categories, okay? I'm going to move on to the other types of ways you could file a green card, or if someone could help you file a petition, because like I said, it is a two-step process. It requires a petition and then the application, okay? How long does spousal visa takes to be approved presently? So I got that question. Before I move on to the next category, answer really quickly. Timeline, this question is on TikTok, so I can put it up here. But timeline, current timeline as of today, this is September. Meet up the deadline and really approve people quickly. They're doing things like, taking out the requirement for an interview. If you have a strong package and your marriage, maybe you've been married for more than 2 years, you can most likely get your 10-year green card without an interview. So they're doing that type of stuff to speed up the process. But still, since it's a two-step process with the petition and the application, you could expect at least that 12 months. Okay, at least 12 months. Before that time, you will get your work authorization, your travel permit. So starting the green card process really has a lot of benefits, because before you actually get the green card to do all these things I was saying, like work and travel, you still get those benefits. You get your work authorization and you get your travel permit. So you'll still be able to travel even before the 12 months, right? So that's the benefit of starting ASAP. As soon as you find out that you have a qualified petitioner, someone who can file a green card petition for you, go ahead and start. Okay. Now, the next I'm going to talk about, and this is one of my favorite topics to talk about, is the VAWA self-petition. So for the question, who can file a green card petition for me, the second category of people will be yourself. So you. I just mentioned earlier that to file a green card petition, to file a green card, you need a petition, right? You can't just come in on a B1, B2 visa and then just apply for a green card. You're going to get denied. You just waste your money, right? You need to qualify somehow. So the whole purpose here is to figure out, how can I qualify? If it's not your family member, you could potentially file for yourself. But the caveat here, the thing that you need to find, is that in order to file for yourself, you still need to have a relative. But in that situation, your relative won't be filing for you because your relative has become abusive. Okay? If you've been following me for some time or watching my lives and my videos, I talk a lot about VAWA self-petition to help immigrants who have been abused by a citizen relative to find their own freedom. So the goal is the same here. The goal is for you to get your green card, to be able to live in the USA, to be able to work, to be able to travel, make plans with your family, all that stuff. But if you have a family member that suddenly becomes abusive, it defeats the whole purpose. So you won't be able to go with number one. So your family member is eligible, it's your spouse, or sometimes even your parents or your child, because VAWA does protect men and women in all different family-based categories, not just only spousal abuse. There are different types of dynamics that happen in a family that creates emotional abuse, financial abuse. That's a big one. Financial abuse is a huge one for immigrants, because a lot of people already know the challenges that most immigrants face is financial stability, right? Because they can't work and all that stuff. So if you end up falling into the hands of an abusive US citizen spouse or relative, they're going to that's usually one of the ways they can control you, because you depend on them for money most of the time. So 90% of the cases I work on, there's always financial abuse in one way or another. Either they take your money when you work, maybe you already got your green card or your work authorization, right? Started working, and you put money in a joint account, they'll take your money. Or if you aren't working, they'll always make fun of you or talk to you about, you're not working, you're not earning money, so you don't have any say in anything we do in this family. Or they don't even give you any money for food or snacks or your toiletries or personal things that you need. So it's just like, figure it out. and you end up just being stuck in that situation and not able to be free. So that's where the VAWA self-petition comes in, okay? VAWA is actually a fairly new immigration law. When I say fairly new, I mean like in the 90s. I think it was Hillary Clinton that actually started the VAWA program because she found out that a lot of immigrants, especially women, even though it covers men and women, but it was mostly women at the time, would come in from all other countries and end up just being stuck in the house. You might never even know that they're here because your abusive spouse won't let you go out or interact with friends or really just have a life. So you end up living in the USA, you don't know anyone. And if you're in a situation where you don't know anyone, that's prime target for an abuser. So that's why VAWA came up, okay? The most important requirements for a VAWA petition is that you have a relative, an abusive relative, that you are currently in the USA and you lived with the abusive relative at some point. Okay, in order to be abused, you have to have lived with your relative. So that's one of the important requirements, living with your relative. You don't have to continue to live with them. Obviously, you're being abused, so you can always move out. But at some point during your marriage, during your relationship, you live together. That's very important, okay? If you meet those categories or those criteria and you have been waiting for several years, your U.S. citizen relative keeps promising, I'm going to file today, I'm going to file tomorrow, this and that and that. You can go ahead and file for yourself. You still have to do the petition though, because remember it's a two-step thing. You can't skip out on the petition, but because of the abuse, you're not going to sit around and wait for the abuser to now finally file the petition for go and do all that, okay? There are different situations. Sometimes they go ahead and file. That's another way that the petitioner controls you. They'll file the petition and, just tell you they filed. And every time you guys have an argument or anything comes up with you in your marriage, they'll be like, I'm not attending your interview, or I'm going to call USCIS to cancel this. I'm done. That's another way. So sometimes they don't file, sometimes they file, and it's still, if there's any type of abuse or anything going on in your family that is making you uncomfortable, you should be able to qualify for a self-petition. Okay, so that's another way. That's another person that can file for you yourself. So or you file for yourself. But remember, you have to have that family member to even move on to filing for yourself. Okay. There are other self-petition ways in employment-based immigration. My practice is mostly family-based immigration, so I won't talk much about it, but just know that it's an option. And if you need a referral, if you need to talk to someone about employment-based green card, you can still let us know. But the third category of people that can file for you will be your job, your employment, your employer, okay? Your employer will file your petition. It's a different type of petition. The family base is the I-130, the employment base is the I-140. So your employer will file a petition, meet all the requirements, income-wise. There are other things like maybe they have to make sure that whatever position you're applying for, they have looked for American workers. They have, there's just different forms and different things they have to do. That's the employer before they can then file for you. So if you don't have a family member, you don't know any other ways that you could get a green card, and you really, really want that green card, employment-based petition could be an option. Okay. Option is pretty straightforward, but it can be a little bit tricky because of the requirements for work. I put here on the screen skilled or unskilled work. Some jobs require a 4-year degree, some require just experience, different requirements for your employer to be able to file for you. So you look into those, figure out if you qualify for that, apply for the job, talk to the employer. Some employers want to know you need a green card so they could file for you. Some of them don't want to go through the process because it is a lot, but some of them do need the help, so they do it. So do some research. Reach out to us if you need a referral for an employment-based filing type of thing, and we'll go from there. Okay, so those are the 3 categories, the 3 people who could file a green card petition for you. Okay, some people were asking during this live that they need help filing. So if you already have a petitioner, we can help. If you need a petitioner, you can just look at what we just discussed today and see which of the categories fall into, and then go from there. We don't provide petitioners for our clients. We just help clients who already are in a situation whereby they qualify for a green card, and we can now help you file so you don't have to deal with all the complications that go with it. All right? So I'm going to answer some more questions on here. I see a lot more questions on TikTok coming up. Answer the ones from Facebook. And if you're just joining us, my name is Ify, the marriage green card lawyer. I help clients all over the USA file permanent residency green card through marriage. And yeah, so they can live and work in the USA. Okay. If you have any questions, any more questions, leave them in the comments. I'll be answering the questions now. If you have any questions about what I discussed, you want to clarify something, let me know. So, Nicole, thank you for your question. I'm gonna go into some of these details here. And for those of you on TikTok, just give me 1 second. Okay, so I recently got married. I'm a US citizen. My husband is outside the USA. Okay, good. We are applying for his green card through the consular processing. Okay, so can you tell me all the forms we will need to fill out beside the I-130? Okay, Nicole, great question. You are definitely on the right track with the I-130. That is a green card petition that we're just talking about here. So for a consular process, when your relative is outside the USA, it's a 2-step process, right? The first set of forms that you need will be the petition, like we're just talking about. Then the second set of forms that you need will actually be provided to you by the National Visa Center. Okay, for those people in the USA, you already have your green card form that you could put together with your petition and file it in one step. For people who are outside the USA, you have to do the 2-step process, file the I-130 first and wait for that approval, and then move on to the other parts of it, which is the visa application, the spousal visa application. The spousal visa application is essentially a green card. That's essentially what you get. It's just called a spousal visa because you have to actually come in. Okay. The other forms you will need would be ones relating to your financial support. So, because like I said, the most important documents for a family-based immigration is your petition, your bona fide relationship, and your financial requirements, meeting the financial requirements, making sure that you earn enough. So once your I-130 is approved, you'll be able to know the next set of documents that you need. And obviously, reach out to my office, and we will be able to guide filing that phase 2 without you dealing with all those complicated forms. Okay, so just reach out to me. My number's on the screen. I'll be able to give you some answers during inquiry call. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So another question coming up from TikTok. Okay, great. Thanks for putting it up here. Appreciate it. Okay, TikTok questions from Princess. Okay, Princess, are you, it sounds like a Nigerian name. Are you from Nigeria? I'm from Nigeria too, so I always recognize our names. Princess is asking, can I visit the US while waiting for my I-130 visa? Okay, great question, Princess, and I get this quite a bit, and I'll tell you, the answer is maybe. The answer is maybe. Maybe if you have a B1, B2 visa already, you could potentially come in on your B1, B2 visa. Or if you applied for a K3 visa, you could potentially come in on a K3 visa. But if you don't have a B1, B2 visa, you most likely won't get approved for one when you have an I-130 pending. So your only options with the I-130 pending to visit the USA, K3 visa. Okay, K3 visa is not K1 visa. I always have to make sure I say that because for whatever reasons, the forms for the K1 and the K3 is the same, but you have to indicate that you're not applying for a fiance visa because you are already married and you're applying for a K3 visa. Okay, so that's essentially how you could come into the USA when you have a pending application. Otherwise, you have to wait for that petition to be approved and then move on to the next phase, okay? Hope that answers that question. Princess, thank you very much for asking. And I'll keep going down the line with the questions. At this point, I've gone through all the people who could help you file your green card petition. So I'm going to be answering questions about that. If you have any more questions about your pending petitions or you want to get started, you don't know how, I'll be answering those. Okay. All right, another question from TikTok. What to do with an expired green card? Okay, Mr. Tough. How did you let your green card expire? Like, what's that about? Was this a 10-year green card or a 2-year green card? Because that would determine what you will do if that green card is expired. Yeah? You really shouldn't let your green card expire, guys, because like I said in the beginning, green card is super important for your overall freedom in America. So if it's expiring, just like a driver's license expiring, you don't have a green card anymore. And that's not good. Okay, so if your green card is expired, if it's a 10-year green card, you would have to just apply to get a replacement green card, another green card, because, you know, you have a 10-year green card. If it is a 2-year green card and is expired, that's a whole different thing, because a 2-year green card is a temporary green card, right? You need to be able to remove conditions to get your permanent green card. So if you haven't removed conditions and your 2-year green card is expired, the process is entirely different, okay? For those of you, if you're filing with the first category I talked about, which is your family, you could potentially get a 2-year green card if the family member is your spouse and you have been married for less than 2 years when you filed, okay? And that's, if that's you, you'll be getting a 2-year green card. And if that green card expires, then you would need to remove conditions. But I really wouldn't wait for it to expire. You're supposed to apply for your, apply to remove conditions 90 days before the expiration date. So what's going on there? Tell me more in the comments, Mr. Tough. I love these questions coming in. Thank you guys for participating. It makes the live so much easier for me because then I, have stuff to talk about. So let's move on to the next question about green card, how to file the green card or who can file your green card for you and so you can live and work happily in the USA. Okay. Another question about filing a family-based green card. How long does it take to file for a child over 30 years old? Fran, are you a permanent resident or a U.S. citizen? That will determine how long it'll take, because permanent residents have a different category, U.S. citizens have a different category. But if your child is an adult child, which a 30-year-old is an adult child, that process could take several years. I think regardless of whether you're a permanent resident or not, it's going to take over 5 years at least, because there's something called the visa bulletin where we get to see how quickly the National Visa Center is getting through the applications or the categories, right? For permanent residents filing for their spouse, that category is current. That means if you're in the USA or outside the USA, wherever, and you file for your spouse as a permanent resident, you're basically going to get almost the same timeline as a U.S. citizen, because there's no backlog in that category. That's the F2A, right? But if you are in an F3 or F4 category with residents, with a child or whatever, adult child, yeah, that one is not current. I think they're now working on cases. I checked this a couple of days ago. Working on cases from 2015, I believe. So that means you still have, what year are we in right now? 15, 16, 17, 20, 22. So we're looking at 7 years. Cases that have been waiting for 7 years are still pending. So if you file right now, you're going to just go right behind them. So at least 7 years will pass. They will deal with those cases before they get to yours. Does that make sense? That's how to kind of think about it. Whenever you want to know timeline stuff or whatever stuff is current, when you can file, you can always check the visa online. Okay? So I hope that answers your question, Fran. Thank you very much. Okay, another question is a timeline question. That's the favorite question. I know people want to know how soon they can start making plans, but apparently that's why we get this question a lot. So it's tricky to answer these types of questions, just because the timeline changes and the timeline depends on so many different factors. But the general answer I always give for I-130 for your spouse is going to be, well, to approve the I-130 could be anywhere from 6 to 8 months, and then you move on to the second phase of that. One of my clients recently had her I-130 approved in 5 months. I'm still, anybody that asks me, I'm going to tell everybody. Because it was so shocking and for me and exciting at the same time, because it was like a high risk, I don't know, like a red flag type of case, because there was a huge age difference between the couple, but still, we still got that early approval. I have a trick that I use. I'll share that in another video, but it worked, okay? 5 months. If your I-130 gets approved in 5 months, I mean, every case is different, obviously, and also your state where you live, all those things affect. So don't expect 5 months, but it could happen. And then this other process, depending on what country your spouse is at, will also determine how long they get called for an interview and all that stuff. Okay, if you're in Nigeria, just forget about it. No, just kidding. But in Nigeria, people are being called for interviews, but it's not anything specific to Nigeria. I think there's just a backlog generally. And if you're understaffed and you don't have enough people to take on interviews on a daily basis, then that's where that's coming from. Okay, so yeah, I hope that answers your question. The other question about transferring to MVC, that just happens once the I-130 is approved. After like 35 days, you'll get access to your NVC website or CAC website, so you can go ahead and do the other parts of the application. Okay. Thanks for your question. Etiquette. Wow, such a cool name. Etiquette. Huh. Nice. Okay. Let's see. I think etiquette, I think I already answered your question here. So let's go to the next one. Nana, thanks for your question. Nana, I'm guessing you're from Ghana, yeah? Afua. Nana, the next step after biometrics is for you to get your work authorization. So I'm assuming you are in the USA. If you're doing biometrics, your next step is to get your work authorization. Really, you don't have to do anything else. You just wait for that to come in the mail. And someone asked me the other day on my Facebook group, what is biometrics, right? So surprisingly, some people don't really know all the processes. And if you are following me on Instagram or TikTok or even YouTube, you'll see that I talk about different things, the process for the green card. So make sure you follow me right now if you're watching this, so you don't miss out on our weekly lives and just other posts giving you tips and information on your green card application. Okay, so your biometrics is where you get your fingerprints taken, your FBI background check. They want to see if you had any violations or anything in your history that could potentially prevent you from getting your green card. Okay, because to get your green card, you need to be admissible. You need to not have any crimes, at least certain crimes. DUIs, well, DUI is a crime. I think I meant getting pulled over, like traffic offenses, not DUI. But DUI is still, I don't think it'll still affect, except there was some other complications with that, like maybe you hurt someone or got charged with something else. But other traffic offenses won't qualify as types of crimes that will make you inadmissible. Okay, so they check your fingerprints all across the world to make sure that there's nothing to worry about there. So with that, once they verify everything, you get your work authorization, and then on your work authorization card, as a matter of fact, I'm glad I just remember this right now. I found my old work authorization card from 2009 when my family finally got their work. I came 2005. So for 4 years, I didn't have my work authorization. That was tough. I mean, I was a teenager, but still, I wanted to work and do things, like making dollars. But I didn't get it. So on your work authorization, I think it doesn't really look like this anymore. There will be something on the bottom that says for travel or valid traveling. This one that I have says not valid for reentry. So maybe we didn't apply for the travel permit. I don't know. At the time, I didn't know anything about all this stuff. I just knew there was a bunch of paperwork, and mom was like filling out all these things. I'm like, what's going on? And that was my exposure to USA immigration. And when I graduated law school, I actually contacted the lawyer that helped us back then in Atlanta, and they told me he had, because I think he was old. But I was so happy. I was like, thank you so much, because I felt so blessed. It was from getting our green card and all those things. I was able to finally go to law school, how all these opportunities open up for me, and now I'm here. So I felt so grateful and blessed, and yeah. But yeah, after your biometrics is your work authorization. That's next, and you travel with it if you filed for the travel permit as well. If you didn't, so this is another mistake that some people make. If you did not include your work authorization form in your application, you may not get your work authorization. You will get called for a biometric, and that's it. You'll just wait till you get your interview, right? So make sure that you always include your work authorization form. It's a separate form in the package, okay? All right, Nana, thank you for bringing up all those memories with your question. I'll move on to the next. Excuse me. Let me drinking water so I can questions for y'all. What's the next one? Okay. Well, I guess it's just coming up twice sometimes, so I'll take note of that. 365K. You guys are so funny. What documents do your spouse need to carry to the lawyer to begin your process? So sounds like you're about to start. Are you the beneficiary or the petitioner? Are you the U.S. citizen or the trying to get your green card? I'd like to know that. 365. But the documents you need, make sure you check out my YouTube videos that tell you about the 5 main documents that you need to get started. Okay, but generally, you're going to need proof of your marriage. This is a marriage-based green card, so you're going to obviously need proof of that relationship. You're going to need your birth certificate to prove who you are. You're going to need your passport to show that you entered the USA if you're in the USA. You're going to need proof of income for the petitioner. You're going to need to show the amounts that you're making. You're going to need that stuff. So those are the types of documents you would take. I'm sure you could talk to your lawyer to ask them specifically what they need from you. But if you are looking for a lawyer to help you with your filing, I'm IFE, the marriage green card lawyer, and I can help you file your permanent residency green card without you dealing with complicated forms, okay? All right, moving on to the next question here from TikTok. Okay, there it is. Question from Brittany Brown. You lost your DS2019 form. What can you do? What do you mean you lost your form? I don't understand. Isn't this form accessed online? Tell me more. The form is accessed online, so I don't know how you lost it. If you lost the credentials, then you have to contact NVC to get those back. Okay. That's pretty much what I can say about that. I'm not sure how you can lose your forms. Most forms, you find them on USCIS website, but when it comes to this form, this sounds like a consulate form, either for a visa or something. You can always get it online. So tell me more information about that, because I'm not sure how you can lose what you can access online. Okay. And I'm going to wrap up here shortly, guys. I'll answer the remaining questions I see, but after that, we'll just wrap it up, and you can join me live every week. I'll be answering some of your Q&A like this, talking about some of the topics that you guys always ask me about. And if you need more support, you can always join my Facebook group. All that information would be, well, actually, it's not, the QR code is not showing today, but all that information will be in the description. If you're following, it's in my bio. If you check out my Instagram, you will see the link in my bio to join my groups and just get more resources, all right? Okay, I'm gonna answer this last question here before we wrap it up for today and enjoy our weekend, okay? All right, hello, I want to petition my mother, apply for the I-130, but now you wanna file the I-485. Do I need to wait for the I-130 approval? Karen, is your mother in the USA? I'm assuming she is if you're asking about the I-485. If she's in the USA, you could potentially file step 1 and 2 concurrently, like I was saying. So if, the I-130, if you have a receipt notice, you could take that receipt notice with your application as well. So you don't have to wait for the I-130 to be approved. You can definitely use your I-130 receipt notice for that. But, you can only file the I-485 if your mother is in the USA, because that form has a fee, right? There's a government fee that goes with the I-485. It's currently $12.25, okay? Don't quote me if you're listening to this in 2023. This is the price for right now, 2020. the I-485 form fee is $12.25. So you have to make sure that you actually qualify for that before you give the government $12.25, because they will not give it back to you. If you file it and you didn't qualify for that, they will just deny it and take your money. So make sure you talk to a lawyer before you move on to that next step, so that you can get your mom her permanent residency green card, so she can have the freedom to work, to travel, to live in the USA, to build a life with you. Just generally follow her dreams. And most of the time, our dreams are, tied to families. Like you need a community, you need a team of people to help you. And if you're not around your family, you just feel stuck, unable to move forward, with whatever dreams and goals that you have. Okay. So I have something here that says, join our private group to support you with your green card application. It's a group specifically for those filing for their green card through marriage, either adjustment of status or the consulate process. That's what group. You have so many people. We were talking in that group like all day, every day. I think different time zones, so it's never quiet in that group. So you're gonna find answers. Just search within the group for whatever questions you may have. And obviously we'll be going live and doing things like that as well to answer your questions. So if you have any questions you want us to answer during the lives, you can feel free to send us a DM or something and ask a question, and then we'll be able to put it in our lives as well. Okay? Thank you very much, you guys, for joining me live. It has been so exciting. So exciting. Today, just to talk with you guys, see everyone, and one of these days I'll have some of you guys join me on this live, especially on TikTok. I know you guys like to ask questions a lot there, so one of these days we'll do that. So follow me again, like I said, at Marriage Green Card Lawyer on all social media platforms. Okay, you'll find resources to help with your application. You'll find entertainment, because I'm always dancing or singing or doing something fun. So follow me for that, and I will see you guys next week. Okay, bye-bye. All right, and boom.